Libra, this is your Sagittarius season December reading, the end of the Gregorian calendar. All information to work with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended version to this reading, which we get more in depth into this general reading. For all of you out there, just so you're aware, this is just a general reading, so it gets way more specific, way more detailed when we enter the extended version. A lot of information comes out. I do believe it's well worth it, and if you sign up for the Libra tier, you will receive it right when it comes out every month. And it's the first link below, so give it about 24 hours is what I normally say. 24 to 48, but usually it's 24 hours, especially if there is a Patreon member on that tier. And I wanted to give you guys some time this month because I think there's a lot for us to talk about. There always is with us, because I'm a fellow Libra. So the Six of Cups is the first card out. Then we have the Emperor. We're going to start with these two. It's very clear here that at this time, you might be even demanding a certain kind of energy. Well, that's very vague. Let's get into it. Your energy is very demanding for yourself. And if you are a Libra who fits into that category where you aren't really sure or have always given a lot of yourself, if you have a tendency to people please, any of those things, and if you've noticed them start to unravel, especially from the summer, it's because the axis of the nodes in the sky went into the Libra and Aries signs. Those signs are where we have started to experience eclipses. We had our first Libra eclipse, and boy, was it something, just in Libra season. So this is an emphasis on the self. Anywhere where you are receiving, because you'll see this as you take a moment to reflect. It's a great time for reflection this month, not because it's the end of the Gregorian calendar year. It's just this month has these pockets and these moments where you can really reflect and find a lot of clarity. So what you are getting clear on more than ever is what you're willing to give and what you are naturally receiving, as opposed to what you desire to receive, right? So your expansion for that, your extremity for that is expanding. Your need for that is expanding, I should say. So the part of you that is coming out, maybe subconsciously, is demanding this effort, is demanding more for yourself, especially if you are someone who has been working consciously on giving more to yourself, whether it's time, energy, or all the things that you were never given as a child or as a teenager, because we are the teen. So those are things that, even if you don't see that specifically as a pattern, that could be something that you notice or begin to notice as we continue to talk about this, because the eclipses are what is almost revolutionizing that part of you. It's upgrading that part of you. And we have Libra in the South Node. So the North Node is wanting to take you further. What is very obvious, though, is that there are some things you have already worked hard on, whether externally or internally. And there might be someone who takes a notice in that. But it's really up to you to not get stuck in this place. So from the 10 of Wands to the 8 of Wands, well, through the 5 of Pentacles to the 8 of Wands, is that this is internal for a lot of you, but it will reflect externally because that's how Sagittarius season works. Wherever your energy is taking you, you kind of almost can't hide from whatever it is that you may be feeling stuck about. There's places in your life, especially if it has to do with your work or your creativity, which also links to the love in your life as well. Any of those places that feel stuck at this time, it's because there's too much energy being put into, so specifically into what isn't working. So if you've noticed time and time again that this isn't working, something's not working for you, it's really important to be very clear about especially if you want to keep the job or you want to stay in the relationship, you want to continue on this creative endeavor, you may be blocked. So it's not that something's not working, but you're constantly you have what they call creative blocks, or that links up to any avenue in your life. That can be very much the common thread. So it might be becoming very clear to you, and maybe that's what you needed. You needed to, after the work is all done, you have maybe feeling stuck, or throughout the course of this month, there's this moment where you feel stuck, but that is the place where you want to take notice the most. No matter how bad it feels, it's because you're upgrading how you're requesting to be treated differently by others. So that things are more balanced in your life, right? Because you are maybe deciding that certain things aren't working for you anymore. From the 10 to the 8 is that things are moving quicker the more that you drop shit off. So there may be a few avenues or a few places. So if you have multiple jobs, you may need to get rid of one. That may be scary. Or if you have different avenues of creativity, whatever brings you income, there's something there that there's too much on your plate. There is. And it's time to let go of something. Because that's how energy works. If you want to receive more and you want to receive in a specific way, you need to let go of wherever you're working way too hard. You can work hard, it's really important, but if it's an overly abundant amount of energy going into the specific place, that's what's constantly been keeping you stuck. And this is the 10 to the 5. This is an end of a pattern. And you feel it physically because it probably has to do with your money. So we tend to feel things, especially if that's not where you feel most worthy. If you don't feel most yourself, you don't feel most in your, some people with money, some people with business are just X plus Y equals Z. Like, this is what has to happen. This is the transaction that needs to be made in order for this to continue. For other people, it's like, and if it's felt like really uncomfortable and now it's getting more comfortable, it's because it's time for you to step out of that space. It's time for that cycle to end. It's time for you to upgrade, right? To take maybe more of a risk in your life. And we have quite a few cards that just came out here. And I'm going to lay them all out first before we get started, because it's a lot of cards. All right, beautiful. Because what this energy is doing, another Aries card. So there's lots of fire in this reading and courage. There's a risk that you've been thinking about for way too long. It's because it disrupts how you have viewed money, security, the very earthly matters that build the life around you, the very things that you have held on to that have gotten you this far. But if you want to go farther, or if you want to change, then it's time to not doubt these ideas. or let any of these ideas go to waste. It's not an illusion if you know it can come true. It's not delusion if you know and you feel like it can come true. Like, these cards had to come from somewhere, right? I didn't make these cards. They were made a long time ago by someone. And before then, there weren't any tarot cards that we know of. They say the playing cards came from these cards. So that's what I know. This risk comes from the built and the self-built confidence that you're having from making really important decisions in your life. Okay, I need to drop a creative project, or I need to drop a job just to clear up some more space for me to feel through, instead of doing something else to get through the stuckness. That doesn't, for air signs, Aquarius already knows this, but Gemini and Libra probably has, is in the middle about this. Gemini, it's probably the hardest for, but eventually that gets them to move on, is to take on something else, and then naturally it allows them to see what they need to drop. For Libras, it's a little more difficult, because if you are someone who doesn't find the full acceptance and love for yourself, and I know how that can feel, and I know how that may feel to hear, then you'll constantly do different things in order to fill that void or give yourself that validation, right? Because you care. But now you're in a space where you care way more about yourself, and that may feel, again, uncomfortable for some of you, like extremely, and it will get comfortable, but you have to allow yourself to do and say the things that support that for you, or else it will be hard for the next few years. And maybe that's the first risk you take, is I'm not sitting on this anymore. I'm going to find out the parts of me that are, and the values that I have that are really important to stay solid. And what you may realize is the other things become this kind of dreamlike state, or this illusion, or this confusion. For some of you, it's just about putting way more energy and value into what comes through you, and clearing out this space we'll clear out space in your mind. We'll clear out space in your emotional body. You may find that you have a lot of emotions to come up and out this month, because Sagittarius season is like, Libra, let's execute. You have so much. Let's execute some of the things, because the more that, and we talk about this isn't something that we don't talk about in these readings. And we still have 3 cards left to look at, and then the bottom of the deck is the 10, which I really like. We'll use that in the second part, so we'll get right into that. Is that the more that you take care of your needs in these ways, it's not being selfish. It's about, that's what's really healing you right now. Right? For those of you who some say that you're superficial, or they don't really know the depth behind the symmetry that you exude until they get to talking to you, or to know you better, or to realize how much shit you got going on and going for yourself. What this does is it exposes you to your blind spot, because that's what this month has really been about, and the energy that's coming up. Whenever you go to do something, whatever stops you from doing that is your blind spot. Whether it's internal or external, there's something that's been constantly, like, it's like playing a game. You're on offense, the person on defense, and you're constantly getting resistance, or you're driving and someone's constantly pulling over in front of you, but they're not moving at your pace, and you have to learn to weave without being an asshole, right? But sometimes you have to be that asshole. Even if you don't think you're being one, there might be someone who thinks that you are. And that's something to get used to at this point if you haven't already. And the way that it moves through you is it exposes you to this spot to where ultimately when you get down to perhaps the root of it, it exposes itself in all its clarity. And you're like, well, the Sun card is like a happy card, right? But it takes strength to see something in that you have been unaware of and really connect to it on an emotional level, because it may take multiple times for you to really connect emotionally, for that awareness to happen, that pattern to become more obvious, right? And it's in the Sun sign that happens. So I would also suggest to you that you find out where the Sagittarius is in your chart at this time. Also Mars playing a big role right here. Mars is in Sagittarius right now. And it will be by the time this comes out. It moves tomorrow. We're under, or no, it already has moved. My apologies. Yes, it has moved. It moved in the beginning of the season. I was looking at the wrong date. Today, the day I'm doing this, is the Sagittarius new moon. So it's a great day to figure out where that is in your chart and where it's clear. And you'll notice like, oh, all the themes in this area, like if you have Sagittarius in, let's say, the second house, it's going to be a lot about money, a lot about your self-worth. You may find that wherever that it's very obvious in that part of your chart, that's where, you know, the change is happening. Because there, maybe you have some instances and some situations where you find yourself shrinking down or being overly dramatic, you know, finding the balance. So by the end of the month, you have found the courage and the strength to not only see to really see, and you're ready to see what's been blocking you. And Mars in Sagittarius is wanting to show you. And then we get into the Mercury retrograde, which starts tomorrow. So the courage to see all of this, that is really what is so important, right? About growth. If you're someone who wants to grow, and if you're here, I would hope that's why you're here. If you want to grow, especially in the ways of doing what's best for you, loving yourself more, what does that look like? What does experimenting with that look like? And you having the courage to take something and put something out there to be seen. And for some of you, it could be being seen and being heard. But this is a lot about being seen and having fun with it too, enjoying the process, knowing that that the action and how you present, whether it's authentic or not, will be seen. And just the courage to do so. And what may have been also blocking you is possible pride. And it could have something to do with this Leo. We'll get more into that into the second part. But also I would take a look at where Leo is in your chart. Aries and Leo coming up extremely strong for you. So those energies are when they're ready to do something and they know and something clicks for them, they don't second guess. They just do it. And if they're second guessing, it's possible that they're already in process. It's not about starting. They have no problem starting. I would say Leo's like something a little bit more structured before starting, where Aries will make the structure as we go type deal. So there's something in between that's happening, but it may be that a few of your blocks have been pride and letting go of that, because it's about what's in your mind and what maybe you're afraid of getting hurt. So you get exposed to yourself in this way. It's like maybe you're afraid of getting hurt. Maybe it's rejection. Maybe it's not being accepted. All of those go hand in hand, but having the courage to love anyway, love yourself, which means doing this for yourself. And knowing that it's not about, yes, if you're doing something for income, of course, but it's also about you becoming yourself. And any parts of you that you have not allowed to be exposed in a healthy way, because if they're not, they're usually projected in another way, right? And if that's happened, that's also exposing you to where the growth is. I laugh out of nervousness, which my boyfriend tells me. And when I'm saying something very straightforward. So let me say that again. You know, these are your blind spots. Pride might be holding you back from who you want to be or who you really are. And that is, Sagittarius is like, let's get that out of you, even if it's messy. I don't care. Let's get messy. Let's understand what is happening and what's stopping you from saying whatever it is that you need to say, or doing or acting upon whatever it is that you're really meant to do. Even if it's you want to stay in the same company, but you want to raise, or you want to move to a different area, those strengths come from having the courage and just the wherewithal to be like, this is what I want, or this is what I think I want. And even if you get what you think you want and you're redirected, it's still just another step. And for those of you who want to gather more information or dive deeper into a subject, it will, if you enroll in something, it will naturally ask you to remove some things, right? So listening to your intuition, communicating through speech and action, but especially action right now. And that's going to cause the emotions to be released, which is medicine for courage, what is medicine for the next step. It's clearing the way for you, and you will have help along the way as long as you ask for it, even if you don't. You know, Spirit's got you, God's got you, the universe has got you. And you may even find that by the end of this month, you're not as uncomfortable anymore, that it just took a moment of reassessment and readjustment this month. I told you I just need to talk to you for a little bit. We'll get more into the second part. I think that was probably one of the clearest readings we've ever had together. Yeah. Don't be discouraged. I hope you don't get down on yourself. And if you do, you ride that emotion through to a healthier place, and knowing that it's okay to feel that way. But what does love look like there? Venusian wave, right? We'll get into the next part right away. All information is below, and I'll see you next month.